Hello. I was having a chat with a friend on Facebook and I was trying to describe a rim design and I couldn't explain it correctly. But it's a downward slope so that you get an edge before the bowl and a little bit more width for colouring. I'm also going to use layered colour to highlight a certain area. It didn't seem to be oscillating quite that much when I was cutting it. However, it's not the lathe bearings out, it's seriously just a misshapen front piece of that wood. I'm only cutting the rim at the moment. I just need to get that slope that I'm looking for. It's about 15 degrees. Nothing too dramatic. It'll give a slight illusion of a wider rim than it really is. And as I said, it's about the inside edge giving me a dramatic ring around the piece. Two advantages of having a screwed up voice track. One, you don't have to hear the extractor running. And two, I can cut short on the sanding scenes. Just edit it out. Wish I could do that in real life. Not really, I enjoy sanding. I wanted to buy a single intrinsic colour just to try it out, but I couldn't choose which one. So I bought the sample set so I could try them all. I'm glad I did. It's been quite fun to play. And they go quite a long way, these sample sets. I can replace the colours as they run out with the full-size bottles. I'm only going to use 3 colours. I want a dark rim, so I'm going to go for earth. That's because it's a pale wood. But I want to highlight one area of the bowl, bringing the eye towards it. So I'm going to go for a red ruby undercoat on that. And then I want a halo of honey around the raised portion of the rim just before we plunge into the bowl. I'm allowing the red to dry before I apply the next cut layer. Normally I'd want to blend the colours, but in this case I don't. I want the red to stand underneath. It's going to be 2 layers of earth, so it will kind of almost vanish, but it'll still give that extra red tint where I want it. Luckily this is an edited video and you don't have to sit there through the drying time. This particular bowl is the one that I did the Jo Sonja paints on the back of. It is firewood. This is not going to be anything but burnt. So I'm just playing and decorating with the intention of having a pretty fire log. I do cheat in real life as well. I use a hot air gun. But it's even better when I can just edit most of the drying time out. Going for another coat of the earth. This will make it pop, make it much darker, and the red that's clearly visible at the moment will still be visible, but only just, which is what I want. Excuse me. You're beginning to see now that the colours are blending just a slightly darker reddish hue where I need it. That's the intention. I've cut out a bit of drying time, and I'm just going to sand just the edge where I want the yellow to go, sorry, the honey to go. I'm using 400 grit because I've already sanded to that on the bit I'm interested in. I don't want to stick the scratch pattern down any lower. And I'm literally just touching the edge. That'll do for that. It's just a small area around a knot that I would also like to pop up a little bit. So I'm just going to give that a little knock back. Really take the honey. Back on with my glove. And I'm just going to go for a circle here. Blending slightly back into the edge, but it's mostly about that rim. Just touch up that little knot. Job done. Time for a bit of cutting. This isn't going to be a thin walled bowl, so I'm just going to scoop it out towards the centre. There's been so much talk of Funnel Club and the t-shirts going around and everybody mentioning it all the time. I am convinced I'm going to go through very soon, but it hasn't happened in a lot of years, so touch wood, which I do often, I might get away with it. This particular piece of wood's got a centre hole in it. I use a bowl saver to speed up my drying time. I cut a number of bowls out at about inch and a quarter thick. They dry quicker. This one was the shallow bowl that was left in the middle. Not a lot of use, but it's good for playing with, or it makes a fairly good jam chuck for other things. And when you want to play with colours, here's the way to go. I have a kiln for drying my wood. It's an old chest freezer, modified with a couple of fans running air through it. It's currently full and I've still got more wood to get cut up yet, so that'll be tomorrow's job on the chainsaw. That'll just have to be cut and stacked in the traditional way until I've got space in the kiln. If anybody's interested, this is a 3/8 Sorby gouge. The handle is one I've made myself. I copy their design because I like the way their handles feel, but I also enjoy making handles, so might as well make my own. That's about the depth I want. Just go on to a few finishing cuts now, just to get the shape right. This gouge has got a bevel of 55 degrees on it, which gives me a fairly nice curve all the way to the middle. I also use the 40/40 grind on sand bowls, usually deeper ones, and mostly because it's fun to use. Of course with that you need a bottoming out gouge, because 40/40 doesn't do it across the bottom. Just going to refresh the edge before we do the last couple of cuts. You can't really see it in the picture, but I'm using a Sorby Pro Edge. It's my third sharpening system. I started with an El Cheapo 8-inch white wheel on a record power. I then got myself a Tormek, which was excellent, but I don't have running water in the workshop, and I had to remember to take water down for it, and I had to clean it at the end of every day, and it was just a bit of a faff really. I got a demo of the Pro Edge, sold the Tormek, bought the Pro Edge. It's quick and easy. I've now got a diamond belt on it, which basically is diamond. Even though I was talking to a camera, which is about the friendliest audience you're ever going to get, because it never argues. You'll see in a minute just how bad I am at talking and cutting. I just lose the bevel and I just lose the plot completely. There we go, how rubbish. Can't talk and cut, that's my problem. Found it. I have to do that cut again now, just to show myself that I can. If the original commentary had worked, if the microphone had picked it up properly, you'd hear that I wasn't talking now. But I'm happy with that cut. Let's edit out the sanding because we can. I'm going to take it up to 240 grit, then I'm going to go for some Yorkshire grit. Going to use a standard on the inside of the bowl. Then I'm going to try the microfine over both the inside and the outside. Obviously when I've got cutting the outside, I'm going to be cutting through the die to some extent. We'll see how it works out. Quick coat of sanding sealer, it's a cellulose sanding sealer, fairly standard. Mine isn't diluted. I do have another jar with diluted stuff in it which I play with on some things, but this is straight out of the original container. So the plan is to use the standard Yorkshire grit on the centre only, and I'm going to use the microfine over both the centre and the dyed portion. Never done that before, so it'll be an experiment. But as I keep saying, this is firewood. It's not going to have a life after this just comes off the lathe. So now's the time to play. Try the Yorkshire grit while the lathe is stopped. Just spread it around a bit. There's my coffee machine in the background. Sorry about that. But you haven't had to listen to the extractors going, so that's good. Start off with the lathe quite slow, about 250 RPM. Just work it in, let it do its job. And bring the speed up and clean it off. Incidentally, I use kitchen towel. I've heard from some people that it scratches the wood. Obviously my work isn't up to their quality, and I've never seen a scratch from kitchen towel finer than or coarser than the 400 grit that I tend to go to. So I use it. It's cheap, it's available, why not? One thing you've got to be aware of when you're putting sanding sealer, or in this case Yorkshire grit, over dye, is it will take some off. So if you're doing a plain wood part and a dyed part, always do the plain wood with a clean towel before you get to the dyed part, and then go back to another clean towel, or clean side of the towel, before you go back to the middle again. Same again, start with a fairly low speed, work it in. And be sure to refold that towel before you go back into the plain wood. As I said, I've never actually tried it on top of a dye before. And that's the time to play. You can see why you don't want to go back onto the middle with after the dye. Speed up and clean it off. When I get close to finishing a bowl, Lola comes to see if I've yet learnt how to turn one with cat food already in it. And she's always disappointed, but at least I get a cup of coffee out of the deal. A little bit of Hampshire Sheen high gloss just to finish it off, and of course it makes it more flammable when I put it on the fire. Job done. Thanks for watching and enjoy the pictures at the end.